Welcome to Laptop Radio. Today's topic is celebrating innovation with PatentX. I am super excited about this topic because I love intellectual property. Today we have Neil and Ahan with us. They're both co-founders of PatentX. And PatentX is about innovation. Hello, Neil and Ahan.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, where are you based?
We're based in Fairfax, Virginia, a little bit south of Washington, D.C.
Awesome. I'm in Atlanta today. I just went to NFT Atlanta and also MomoCon, which is an anime con. Really excited about it to see both innovation and creativity. And I think this is what the talk about is today. Let's begin with telling us your story.
Yeah, for sure. I can kind of dive into mine. So we started PatentX the summer after I graduated school. Neil was about to start his senior year. And the kind of reason behind it was, like, as I graduated school, I realized that, one, I had a huge obsession with the latest technologies, whether it's finding the newest ones or understanding why a certain technology has gone to the place that it is. Over my 4 years in college, I interned at a bunch of different companies. My degree is in computer science, so I worked on a lot of cool projects, worked on a few startups, and I kind of wanted to ensure that I kept learning about the latest technologies and working on those products. After I graduated, I met up with one of my very close friends who I grew up with, Neil, and he can kind of talk about where we got started from after that.
Yeah, for my story, I'm pretty lucky because my dad and my uncle have been doing startups for the last 20 years and had some successful companies come out of it. And essentially, when I graduated Georgia Tech, I was like, oh, I don't really want to be doing the basic 9 to 5 working for someone else. I really want to do my own startup and do something impactful. That's when I hit up Ahan over the summer of 2021. I was like, hey, man, do you want to come over to the office? You want to brainstorm some ideas? And then this is essentially really the main part when NFTs was blowing up. All the applications of blockchain were coming in. Utility of NFTs were becoming really big at this point. And then we thought, looking into different industries, where can we take this technology and really make an impact? And then we just looked into the IP space and saw there was a lot of problems in the actual infrastructure and how IP is being transacted and how long this process is taking, and just how a lot of patents are just not monetized currently. So we wanted to apply blockchain, use NFT technology to basically facilitate innovation and drive innovation on our platform. That's how PatentX was essentially created and came up of.
Awesome. PatentX is a platform for patent licensing.
Yeah, it's a platform for a lot of things. We're hoping to create it for small time inventors as well as large companies and connect them with different patents. So you can buy or sell patents. You can create licenses and manage your assets. And then we also want to create ways that you can have partial ownership over patents. And what we're really trying to solve is we're trying to make sure that all of these pieces of innovation and technology are continuously expanded on. So different products are not just stuck on a shelf somewhere after ideating or spending millions and billions of dollars on research. We're really hoping that creating an open marketplace for people to come and buy and sell different patents, licenses, and all of that can facilitate more innovation.
How old were you when you first learned about crypto?
Yeah, I've been hearing it from a very young age. I just did not have the guts to tell my parents to invest in it. So I had to kind of wait until I got the money myself to get into it.
This is kind of funny because the first time I actually heard about crypto, I was sitting right next to Ahan in economics class in high school. We were doing presentations. On economic topics, and some person in the class actually did his presentation. This was in 2016, if I'm correct, Ahan?
Yeah.
2016, yeah. He did a presentation on Bitcoin. It was like, what, $20?
Yeah, $3. Yep. Yeah, it's probably not under 100.
Yep, and I regret not buying it that day to this now.
Yeah. You never know, right? What is your aha moment? Because I saw that both of you are in computer science, and there are a lot of Web 2 classes, but there's not a lot of Web 3 classes. My question is, when do you learn about the whole entire blockchain ecosystem? And when do you first learn how to even code Web 3?
Yeah, I think I started really getting obsessed with it my senior year of of college and just learning about the different applications of it. And I think that really came about because there were so many blockchain companies emerging. So I was like, there's something more there. There's no reason that this many blockchain companies are coming out of thin air. I started looking into it, and then I really started coding right after I graduated, right around the time I was about to graduate, actually. And so I started like looking into smart contracts, started looking into the actual token standards and stuff like that. But I kept up with the initial how companies are being created off the blockchain or using blockchain senior. And then right after I graduated, I would say 2020 and 2021, right after I graduated, I started developing and working in blockchain. It's kind of insane because even now, there's so much that you learn on a daily basis. There's so much new technology that even if you started 4 or 5 years ago, I would still say you're still feeling like a novice in the space because there's so much new tech that gets built every single day, honestly, it seems like.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually spent hibernation doing Solidity, and it was annoying at first because you can't do testnet without test tokens. Like everything you do, you need money.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of a good learning experience though, because I think you learn how to circulate money because I think a lot of Web2 are open network that are free. However, in exchange for that freedom, I mean, that freeness or freemium, you basically provide your data and provide value to that company. In Web3, even though you have to pay, you also own a certain part of that. You stake and you kind of show that you really care about something. And I actually don't mind paying a little bit for an action. That mentality is a little bit different from a little bit of the Web2 space. How do you feel about the ethos and the ecosystem of that kind of circulation and ownership shift?
I think it's good in the sense of you're owning your own data, you're owning exactly what you control. And I think that was the issue with a lot of people the first time. They didn't realize that their data was being monitored. And that's where all of these big lawsuits for these big tech companies started coming in and stuff. I think using and knowing what you own and making everything public and holding people accountable to those things is exactly what we're trying to do with our company and our product. And I think going forward, that should become the new norm. And yeah, you have to pay a little bit more now, but you're potentially making more later, or potentially you're making more on yourself. And that's why a lot of developers I've seen migrate to the Web3 space. I've seen a lot of regular people start looking into crypto as a way to manage their assets and stuff like that as well. I think it's great for that as long as everyone understands what that means for them. And I think the most important thing is the fact that it's all open and it's all honest about exactly what's going on.
Since this platform is about intellectual property, and everyone knows that I love intellectual property. In the US, there's the USPTO that governs patents. How do you see yourself in that role? You're creating a patent platform using NFTs. Ideally, how would your company play a big part in that kind of more traditional patent ecosystem?
Yeah, currently right now, the platform is only focused on facilitating licensing, full rights, and trademarking power would be awesome. And I've talked about this multiple times. Obviously, in the future, having this DAO, essentially a whole community of people where people can actually, instead of filing straight to USPTO, go on our platform and submit an invention. The community itself decides, hey, this patent is unique, or this invention is unique, and we would love to have it published on the platform. That would be the end vision and goal of it.
I think as of now, what we want to do is we want to use it alongside of the traditional patenting system. But as we continue to advance and as we continue to evolve, we're hoping that being able to put it on the blockchain that you have a certain claim to an invention or claim to a part of an invention and stuff like that gets held and secured properly. As of now, we want you to put your invention on our marketplace and then we'll help you take it and then make it a patent as well. There's a lot of different features and aspects that we're hoping that complement the traditional marketplace. And then as we continue to go forward, again, as Neil said, help you take in an innovation or take an invention and have a community of innovation experts or patent experts decide if it's unique enough to be claimed as a patent.
There's going to be experts that basically determine novelty and all the good stuff. What are some of the challenges that the traditional patent ecosystem faces?
One of the biggest things right now that Ahan saw, like this is published in an article, but currently 90% of patents are not monetized in the US Patent Office. So that's a very big chunk. And we read an article saying that there's around $28.3 billion of value available right now to buy. And these are not just patents that are just old patents. These are patents from top universities like MIT, Stanford. We just don't see a lot of facilitation happening.
Mhm.
Next is obviously there's a whole process of when you want to buy and sell patents, right? You got to go through patent brokers, patent lawyers to have that whole process happen. And just talking to some patent lawyers, sometimes that process take a very long time. And sometimes the smaller inventor, they can't afford that. So they can't even afford to monetize their patent, which could be a really nice technology. So that's one big issue. I think one example comes up is with the fidget spinner. The fidget spinner was actually created by an old lady for her daughter who had ADHD, and she actually couldn't afford to keep that patent up, which is $200 to get it renewed.
Mhm.
And then 2 years later, it became over $1 billion industry. Manufacturers were able to take that patent and just monetize it and keep supplying. And that's how the fidget spinner became so big. But she profited nothing off her initial patent because she couldn't afford it. Hopefully, having a platform like this allows those small inventors, hey, you can just put up your patent, and then whoever sees value to whoever wants to buy can, of course, buy it on our platform in a matter of seconds.
Mhm. Awesome. And you're using NFTs, which is awesome. Would you let us or the listeners understand what an NFT is?
Yeah, sure. I guess the easiest way to think about a non-fungible token, that's what the NFT stands for, is it's a unique item that only one person can own. Compared to the traditional Bitcoin and having multiple tokens and all of that, there's only one token that one person can own. It would be one patent that someone owns and no one else can claim it. It's all shown on blockchain. You can go and check out who owns a specific token. And the way that an NFT works is it's a contract pointing to a bunch of data. For us, it would be the patent rights and the patent itself, the claims, all of that information. The best way I like to describe an NFT is that it's like art. A lot of people have been using that in the sense that the way that it gets its value is by either one, the people who've owned it, or two, the influence and like the utility behind it. We're hoping for more of the second feature where we can provide utility by owning that patent. And again, it's all backed on the blockchain. So it's all showcased properly and it's seen publicly who owns which NFT and no one else can make a claim towards it.
PatentX is having a limited Genesis NFT drop, and I've seen some of the NFTs. They look awesome. And a lot of them are historic patent innovation, like the airplane and a number of other things. What inspired that idea?
Basically, one thing we want to do is before we launch our marketplace, we obviously first wanted to show that our marketplace can handle these kind of transactions. We thought it'd be an awesome idea to take some of the most influential innovations of our time, like Thomas Edison's light bulb, Nikola Tesla's steam engine, the Wright brothers' first flying aircraft, and things like that, and turn them into 3D models. We didn't want to just do a picture. We actually wanted to take the patent itself and the figures in that patent and turn it into an actual rotating 3D model, the GLB file. So that we thought that would be, and then we also wanted to display the claims of that patent, really show off what that patent was claiming and sort of also what the impact that patent had on future innovations. And all that stuff is on our platform.
Awesome. And how many NFTs are there?
290 NFTs available for this first drop.
What kind of innovation did Apple come up with?
Yeah, one of the NFTs that we're dropping is the first Apple patent, which is the first computer housing patent. That's also going to be featured on our marketplace. And again, we've been tweeting about it. We've been talking about it. There's plenty of hype leading up to it. We're really excited about the launch as well. And yeah.
Awesome. And is there anything that you wanted to share that I have not asked you?
Yeah, Neil and I have been working on this for a while. We've honestly just been super obsessed with finding some of the coolest historical technologies. And it's been really fun. And we've been trying to take that and take the mentality of old innovators, like successful innovators, and apply it to our platform and make sure that we create a place that people aren't restricted to building products, or people aren't restricted in their ideas, and they can create and innovate freely while still getting the protection and the rights that they deserve for coming up with a new solution. And so that's really what our core message of our marketplace is. And our first launch is really establishing ourselves as people who understand and are really engaged with the NFT community, as well as just NFTs in general, creating and developing our own NFTs. And we'll continue to move forward with opening up that marketplace to active patents, to active licenses and things like that, and then really help take off in that manner.
Awesome. And what is your vision for the company, say, in 3 years?
In 3 years for me, I would love to see, first off, more than who's on the platform, like a whole community. We would love to have patent lawyers, patent examiners, inventors, big companies, and all these people conversing in our community and talking about, hey, these are issues in the patenting thing. And this is like stuff we would love to see, or just conversing in general every day about the patent process and stuff like that. But then also having small inventors putting up their innovations on our platform and having some of the big companies buying that, helping those small inventors monetize their stuff, or even big companies that do a lot of licensing, they would be doing all their licensing through our platform, through different manufacturers and so forth. And then obviously, hopefully down the road, have that governance of where the community can essentially decide where, hey, this patent, we see it as very nice and that it's unique and it should be actually hold the rights to having a patent on our platform.
Awesome. What is one piece of advice you have for the community?
I think one thing that I realized a lot later than I wish I had was just the importance of developing and building out a community. Again, I've been obsessed with the technology behind NFTs, like the smart contracts, the token standards, all of that. And so I really dove into what I knew, but I wish I had pushed more on the marketing side from day one. Having a community and honestly just a bunch of people that back your product is so important. And that just kind of comes from going and talking to people, going to different NFT events and meeting as many people as possible. I think meeting people in person has become really big as well, because you can put a face to their name and to their wallet address and their influence. I guess that's probably the most important thing. If you're creating your own NFT project, I think that is something that kind of still gets swept under the rug until later. If you're like us, you love the product side of it, but that is equally as important, if not even more important.
I agree with you, Ahan. Anil, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, one big thing that I kind of like earlier when then I was getting into NFTs, I was like, oh, this NFT has so much hype. I'm just going to buy it because everyone's buying it. But I think slowly as I started getting more into the NFT space, working on PatentX, I really realized like before buying an NFT, looking at the actual project and what it like stands for and what the future of it is and what it's actually doing. And buying NFTs that you actually love is about yourself and actually your hobbies and stuff like that. I really started now purchasing NFT based off that and supporting projects and being communities, sort of projects that I love instead of just like not too much like, oh, this is so hype and everyone's buying it. That's why I'm going to buy it. That's sort of how my mindset sort of changed in the NFT community. So kind of be yourself and think for yourself when buying NFTs.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye bye. Have an awesome day.
All right, you too.